How's everybody doing? This is Wilson from Meetings of the Minds here in Atlanta. We're down here for InvestFest, and I want to take the opportunity to be able to interview one of the most innovative young entrepreneurs here, coming from directly from Virginia. Justin, tell me, how's your experience so far out here down south for InvestFest?
It's been amazing. It's been amazing to see so many people come down and really just take charge of their life in the sense of coming down here, getting the knowledge, getting the exposure to something that's bigger than themselves, ultimately to impact their family and future generations to come. Man, so I wouldn't have it any other way this weekend.
With Meetings of the Minds podcast, we highlight financial literacy. We highlight community work and life reflections. And sometimes people tend to um, look at life in a different way when they interact with other human beings. And I feel that if we take the time to learn from each other, we'll have a better understanding where we come from. Because cultural wise, sometimes we're coming from the same place. You're from Virginia, right?
Yeah, I'm from Petersburg, Virginia.
And where are you staying at right now?
Currently in Washington D.C., D.C. proper is what we say.
Yeah, man. Shout out to everybody in DC. The DC is if you're on your way down south and you don't pass DC, right? I mean, that's like a must, right? How was your upcoming in Virginia and then going into the transition into DC?
Well, starting out when I was younger, I lived with my mother. She's single, in a single family home, and my sister as well. So there wasn't really a lot of opportunity in Petersburg. It was a small area, small town. But great, I was grateful to be able to get the exposure of coming to DC when my father moved to DC, actually. So going up to visit him, it just sparked a different type of curiosity when I saw people, at coffee shops or at restaurants at like 10 a.m. in the morning. I'm like, well, I'm used to seeing people do 9 to 5. They're at work. What's going on? And this is way before, work from home was even a thing. So
Yeah.
from that point, I started asking questions and just really understanding what my gifts and talents were in, and it ended up aligning with engineering. So I ended up going to school at HBCU, North Carolina A&T State University, Aggie Pride.
Shout
But
out to North Carolina.
shout out to North Carolina, man, in Greensboro, North Carolina. So I ended up majoring in civil engineering. And basically that's just a fancy way of saying that we design and do all type of considerations for anything that deals with civilization. So whether it be city planning, whether it be construction of buildings, roadways, any of our resources like water resources as well, we basically have a hand in that. So growing up from that point or graduating from A&T, I ended up taking a job as an engineer. I was a transportation design engineer, did any and every aspect of construction and design for roadways that you could possibly think of, especially when you're just sitting on a road. So, doing anything with the roads, the sidewalks, the signage, the stoplights, everything, right? Did that for a few years, wanted to take on a different challenge. So I decided to do vertical construction. Moved to Florida for a little bit to do something with a warehouse, actually dealing with NASA's property. Then moved back to DC and decided to take on that role from another aspect in project management,
Yeah.
which can be translated to any industry, right? As long as you understand the systems that are in place. So started doing a lot of project management and leading a lot of work in regards to probably about upwards to about 25 to $30 million worth of scope when it came to luxury apartment complexes. So we
Nice.
built that during the pandemic, which was an amazing experience, but very
Yeah, I think it
interesting
was for a
challenge,
lot of
man.
us, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
man. Yeah,
it taught us how to slow down, I would say, right? Because we live in a fast world.
right.
Tell me, with investing nowadays, right? It's like a lot of our good brothers from the EYL, right? And I always like to bring them up because they've inspired a lot of many people.
Right.
But at Meetings of the Minds want to continue to branch out of that and keep informing and allowing to put people with a voice and with high levels of education to be able to bring some value to the table. What are some of the things that you see coming in the future when it comes with investment? Young entrepreneurs, experienced entrepreneurs, but the new generation of entrepreneurs. What opportunities they have today versus what they had before back in the days?
Man, I mean, I say this all the time now. The opportunity really is at their fingertips with their phones now. We have so much information at our fingertips compared to when, we were younger. We had to go walk to like a library or,
Yeah.
go to a library to actually get that knowledge or get access to the internet. I vividly remember having to walk to the library to go access the internet when I was a kid, So I think now it's a great opportunity because everyone's, basically on their phones. You have access and exposure, which is the main thing when it comes to channeling the mind on what direction it wants to go. It's exposure, right? So now that we have that exposure with social media, we get to see how other people are living, whether it be exactly what it is, or there might be a hidden message and we need to go explore, right?
Yeah.
I think that's a very pivotal thing or pivotal tool when it comes to the new up and coming entrepreneurs. These blueprints are already laid out. Now they are exposed to it at their fingertips. All they really have to do is just take it, see what aligns with them and their purpose, and then just go after it.
Coming from a person that actually invests, I know how important it is to diverse your portfolio.
Hmm.
Uh, when with that being said, real estate is a key feature of diversifying your portfolio.
Absolutely.
How has real estate shifted the way you're approaching your career and your profession down the road? And what advice you have for people that want to get into real estate,
So,
whether you're an agent, a brokerage, or an investor?
okay. So real estate for me, while working in construction, made me realize that I can make money in my sleep, basically, right? Which is the goal. You want to be able to trade. You don't want to trade your time for money. You want to be able to have your money work for you in that sense. So real estate was that avenue for me during that time when I was in construction. And during that, I was able to leverage my skill set to be able to build up a real estate empire or start building a real estate empire. So we know that, years ago that real estate was one of the things where, redlining existed, right? So we weren't able to, or black and brown people weren't able to buy homes to be able to live in them, but also, tap into the equity play, which creates a lot of generational wealth. There are other tools that create generational wealth as well, but real estate has been one proven over time. So, when it comes to investing, I would say, you need to start with the basics. Make sure you understand, what type of loans you can take out. Make sure you do market analysis, understand how to do market analysis, make sure you understand how to actually do a write-up sheet, so that you can actually see what your ARV is going to be. Make sure you know where you're buying in. Most real estate gurus will tell you the same thing. You make your money on the buy, which means that you want to buy properties at a extremely great rate or price point. And then, of course, you have your construction fees. But on the back end, right, that's where all the money is made with the equity as well as the cash flow, right?
Yeah.
Depending on your market. So for anyone who's trying to get into real estate, I would say make sure you just do research, ample research to see, you know, the market that you're getting into, the types of loans that work for you. Make sure you don't over leverage yourself, and then make sure you also have a make sure you have an exit strategy as well, just in case something goes wrong. It's not about, trying to do everything perfect, but understanding that you have to pivot at any moment and make sure you have a way to do it so you don't end up stuck.
With everybody speculating about inflation, right? In the next 3 to 5 years, where do you see the real estate going? Is it better to invest into commercial or residential properties at this point?
I think that depends on your current position. I would say, and that's just basically whatever financial situation you might be in. There's profit to be made in every aspect of real estate. Real estate's not going anywhere at all, right? I think that most people would find residential being advantageous because at the end of the day, everyone needs a place to lay their head. These companies now during the pandemic have shown that they can just work from home,
Yeah.
right? Um, which eliminates the need from actually going into the office. However, a lot of them are already locked into leases, so they're starting to force like a hybrid type of work environment for people.
Yeah.
But if you do want to invest, I would say, and starting out, especially start out with residential. It's a lot easier to manage, especially when it comes to risk, and it has a lower barrier of entry. So, from there, you're able to scale up that much more. And then when you get to a position where you feel comfortable, then I would say go ahead and start investing into commercial properties.
Beautiful. Well said. Well said. Well, listen, Justin. What are two key features that you can, or two gems that you can give to the young entrepreneurs coming up and people that are actually interested in going into when it comes to real estate?
Something that we used to say all the time is like knowledge is your shield, right?
I
So
like
make
that.
sure you go out and actually take the time to study your craft, which would be real estate. One of the easier ways to really understand, excuse me, would be to go and become an agent, actually, and you can take a course, a couple $100 for you to do a course. You sit through it for a few weeks, but it drops so many gems when it comes to real estate, especially within the market or city that you're in or state that you're in,
Yeah.
that you just wouldn't get being a normal investor. I started out, before I got my license, I ended up buying property. But when I got my license, I ended up learning a lot of the things and seeing a lot of things that I ended up bumping my head with across along the time.
Yeah.
So I would say, do make sure that you go out there and get the knowledge that you need. Don't don't rush. Don't feel like you are being rushed, as if you're falling behind in it. Right?
Yeah.
Real estate property is not going to go anywhere. There are always going to be deals, and there are always going to be opportunities. You just need to seize it. Do have a sense of or sharpen your people skills, because at the end of the day, um, it's about the people that you impact when it comes to real estate, especially when you talk about renting your properties. And then also do have exit strategies, right? Make sure you have a plan in place that you can act on in a moment. Do not think that you're going to go into it and everything is going to go smoothly or perfect
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
Things always
You got to
happen.
be ready
You
for the other side of things
absolutely,
and
absolutely.
how things go. Well, listen, I mean, a lot of the perspectives that you come into the table with make a lot of sense. I really do appreciate your time. Um, we're here in Atlanta, meetings of the minds. We had to take the opportunity to be able to put out some gems to the world. And Justin, I really do appreciate you. Where can people follow you?
Yeah, everyone. I appreciate you pulling me on your platform. You can follow me at Prophecy Dreamer on Instagram,
Follow.
and that's where I am. So I'll drop any type of renovations that I'm doing, any type of real estate deals, and even any type of motivational speeches to just get people up and going and actually taking charge of their life.
Yeah.
So
So listen, man, make sure y'all tune in with my man Justin. You know what I'm saying? Follow if you have any questions. You want to just getting into any type of properties. He's the man to call. So make sure you guys contact him. And again, man, thank you a lot for coming to the show, man.
appreciate
Appreciate
you
you a
having
lot,
me.
man.
Yeah, be ready.